Some science fiction films arrive with ambition written all over them, bold concepts, visionary directors, and marketing that promises the next genre revolution. Then opening weekend hits, audiences shrug, critics divide, and the box office collapses. Studios quietly move on. Yet certain failures refuse to disappear. They linger on late-night television, on scratched DVDs passed between friends, in online forums where fans dissect every frame. Over time, what once looked like a misfire begins to feel ahead of its era. The tone seems stranger, braver, more original than the safe blockbusters that outperformed it. These films dared to build dense worlds, challenge viewers, or blend tones in ways mainstream audiences weren't ready to embrace. Financially, they stumbled. Creatively, they endured. What follows are 10 science fiction disasters that crashed on release, but slowly rebuilt themselves as cult legends, stronger in legacy than they ever were in theaters.
THX 1138, 1971. Before creating Star Wars, George Lucas directed this stark dystopian experiment. THX 1138 performed poorly at the box office, its minimalist tone alienating audiences expecting excitement. The film depicts a sterile future where citizens are drugged into compliance and stripped of identity. Its white corridors and emotionless performances create an intentionally cold atmosphere. Studio cuts altered Lucas's vision, further complicating its release. In the wake of Star Wars' success, viewers revisited THX 1138 to see its origins. They discovered a bold, unsettling meditation on control and conformity. Its abstract storytelling and sparse dialogue reward attentive audiences. What once seemed dull now feels hypnotic and visionary. The film's influence on dystopian aesthetics is undeniable. Though it failed commercially, THX 1138 became essential viewing for science fiction purists seeking austere, uncompromising futurism.
Existenz, 1999. Directed by David Cronenberg, Existenz baffled audiences upon release. Its organic virtual reality game pods and biomechanical interfaces felt grotesque compared to sleeker cyberpunk aesthetics of the era. Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jude Law navigate layers of simulated reality where the boundary between game and life collapses. Cronenberg leans into body horror, turning technology into flesh. The film's muted box office reflected confusion over its tone, neither straightforward action nor pure horror. Over time, its tactile, unsettling vision of immersive gaming became increasingly relevant. Fans appreciate its refusal to glamorize technology. Its slippery narrative encourages repeated viewings, each revealing new ambiguities. What once alienated viewers now fascinates them. Existenz survives as a cult relic of late 90s paranoia and Cronenberg's uncompromising imagination. Sunshine, 2007. Directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, Sunshine struggled commercially despite critical praise for its ambition. The premise is simple yet epic. Astronauts journey to reignite a dying sun. The film's first half plays like meditative hard science fiction, emphasizing isolation and sacrifice. Then it pivots into psychological horror, a tonal shift that confused mainstream audiences. Visually, Sunshine is breathtaking, saturated with blinding solar flares and claustrophobic interiors. Cillian Murphy leads a cast that treats the mission with solemn gravity. Marketing failed to clarify whether it was action spectacle or cerebral drama. Over time, fans embraced its genre-blending audacity. Its haunting score and philosophical themes of faith and survival cemented its cult reputation. What once divided viewers now defines its singular identity in modern sci-fi. Dark City, 1998. Released months before The Matrix reshaped cinematic sci-fi, Dark City arrived to confusion and muted box office returns. Directed by Alex Proyas, the film follows a man who awakens with no memory in a city where reality itself shifts at midnight. The production design is drenched in noir shadows, spiraling staircases, and artificial skylines that feel claustrophobic and theatrical. Studio interference forced an opening narration that explained too much, undercutting its mystery for casual viewers. Audiences expecting straightforward action instead found philosophical dread about identity and control.
Over time, fans embraced its moody atmosphere and bold visual style. The idea of unseen beings rearranging reality gained deeper resonance in the digital age. What once felt confusing now feels prophetic. Its reputation grew through home video and director's cut restorations. Today, Dark City stands as a cult cornerstone of cerebral, stylized science fiction.
Equilibrium, 2002. Equilibrium barely registered in theaters, earning modest returns and little marketing push. Directed by Kurt Winner, it imagined a dystopia where emotion is outlawed and citizens inject drugs to suppress feeling. Christian Bale anchors the film as an enforcer who begins to question the regime. Critics dismissed it as derivative of Orwell and The Matrix, but audiences later discovered its unique blend of philosophy and stylized action. The invented martial art gun kata became instantly iconic among fans. Its stark production design and rigid aesthetic amplify the theme of emotional sterility. On home video, viewers appreciated its sincerity and pulpy conviction. What once seemed overly serious evolved into a cult favorite for those craving high-concept dystopia with operatic action. Equilibrium's emotional core, buried beneath slow marketing, ultimately secured its lasting reputation.
The 13th Floor, 1999. Released in the same year as The Matrix and Existenz, The 13th Floor was overshadowed and quickly forgotten. Directed by Joseph Rusnak, it explores simulated realities layered within one another, blending 1930s noir aesthetics with late 90s cyber-paranoia. Audiences at the time struggled to separate it from competing virtual reality narratives. Its marketing failed to highlight its philosophical depth, instead framing it as a standard thriller. Over time, viewers revisited it for its elegant production design and existential questioning. The film's exploration of artificial consciousness feels increasingly relevant in an era dominated by digital identity. Its slower pace and cerebral tone limited mainstream appeal, but rewarded patient audiences. On streaming platforms and Blu-ray releases, it found appreciation as a thoughtful meditation on simulated worlds. Once dismissed as a Matrix knockoff, it now stands as an underrated companion piece. Pandorum, 2009. Pandorum opened quietly and disappeared quickly. Its box office returns modest and its reception mixed. Directed by Christian Alvard, the film traps two astronauts aboard a seemingly abandoned generation ship. The atmosphere is suffocating, corridors dripping with rust and dread. Ben Foster delivers a twitchy, intense performance that mirrors the film's paranoia. Critics compared it unfavorably to Alien and Event Horizon, overlooking its psychological focus. The concept of Pandorum, space-induced psychosis, adds a layer of mental instability to the horror. On home media, viewers discovered its intricate world-building and grimy aesthetic. Its bleak tone and relentless tension gained appreciation among sci-fi horror fans. What once seemed derivative now feels like a grim, uncompromising entry in space survival cinema. Pandorum earned cult status through atmosphere rather than opening weekend spectacle.
Silent Running, 1972. Silent Running quietly underperformed despite its imaginative premise. Directed by Douglas Trumbull, known for visual effects on 2001: A Space Odyssey, the film follows a botanist preserving Earth's last forests aboard a spaceship. Bruce Dern delivers a haunting performance as a man descending into isolation. The drones accompanying him became unexpectedly endearing. Audiences at the time struggled with its slow pacing and ecological message. Decades later, its environmental themes resonate powerfully. The practical effects and miniatures hold up remarkably well. Rather than explosive action, the film offers melancholy reflection on humanity's priorities. Its quiet tone limited its initial appeal, but strengthened its cult longevity. Silent Running is now cherished as a poignant, ahead-of-its-time eco-sci-fi meditation.
Enemy Mine, 1985. Enemy Mine suffered production troubles and box office disappointment upon release. Directed by Wolfgang Petersen, it tells the story of a human pilot, played by Dennis Quaid, stranded with an alien enemy portrayed by Louis Gossett Jr. Beneath its sci-fi exterior lies an intimate tale of prejudice and understanding. Audiences expecting large-scale action instead encountered a character-driven survival drama. The heavy makeup and slower pacing limited mainstream appeal. Over time, viewers embraced its heartfelt message and ambitious prosthetics work. Its themes of empathy across cultural divides feel timeless. Home video releases allowed it to find appreciative audiences. What once seemed small for a sci-fi epic now feels refreshingly sincere. Enemy Mine earned cult admiration for prioritizing emotional connection over spectacle.
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, 1984. Few films baffled audiences like The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Directed by W.D. Richter, it blends sci-fi, rock music, satire, and comic book absurdity into one chaotic adventure. Peter Weller plays the titular hero, a brain surgeon, physicist, and rock star battling interdimensional aliens. The tone shifts wildly, refusing to explain its mythology. Mainstream viewers found it incomprehensible, and its box office returns reflected that confusion. Yet fans embraced its eccentric humor and offbeat world-building. Quotable dialogue and bizarre supporting characters fueled midnight screenings and cult devotion. Its refusal to simplify became its greatest strength. Over time, Buckaroo Banzai transformed from financial misfire to beloved oddity, celebrated for daring to be unapologetically strange in a genre that often plays it safe.
Not every failure fades. Some simply wait for the world to catch up. These films stumbled in theaters because they refused to simplify themselves, refused to chase trends, refused to dilute their ideas for easy consumption. Audiences weren't ready, marketing didn't know how to sell them, and studios quickly labeled them disappointments. But time has a way of rewarding ambition. On late-night broadcasts, VHS tapes, DVDs, Blu-rays, and streaming rediscoveries, these stories found viewers willing to lean in instead of tune out. What once felt confusing became visionary. What once felt strange became influential. Cult status isn't manufactured by opening weekend numbers. It's earned through endurance. These sci-fi disasters survived because they dared to be different. And in a genre built on imagining the future, sometimes the boldest ideas simply arrive too early, waiting patiently for the audience that will finally understand them.